Hello, my classes. I am here specifically to give you instruction on the In the News first presentation of the semester. It's really exciting. 2 key words, simple and manageable. Do not overdo it, do not. There are time limits on all of the presentations. This one is 2 to 5 minutes. Make a quality 2 minutes and you're good to go. I'm outside in Bristol Community College right now on the Fall River campus. I like to do my videos outside. I think the lighting is better for me, but I could be delusional. Oh, I just realized a couple of things. No hats on, and no need for a mask right now. But you will need a mask if you are speaking before an audience, and that's always your choice. If you want to work with an audience, that's great. You can have your family, you can have your pets, you can have your stuffed animals. I like to have an audience, but I have an imagination that I see you as my audience, even though you are virtual. So the In the News, you've read the handout on it, and all of our speeches have handouts. The key thing to remember for all of them, there's always an intro, a body, and a conclusion, always. Same organization as you would find when writing an essay. So when I say to transfer your literacy from your English writing classes into this class, this is where you can really see it come to life. Now, using notes. I always suggest to have notes, always. I have been speaking for over 41 years publicly. I never go to a presentation without notes. Notes are a good discipline to have with you, so you don't overdo your time limit, you stay on track, you don't run into tangents, and it helps you to take control over this potentially agonizing experience. If you think you're going to be very nervous, well, don't bring notes with you, and you will just go off the charts with nervousness. 2 different ways you can do notes. Maybe there are 3, but 2 that I encourage. I do not encourage notes on your phone or on a mobile device. I've been to big presentations where the speaker brings out their phone and they get very small. Their neck curves, they get what we call tech neck. They hunch over. Inevitably, they can't see something. It trips them up, gives them too many hiccups. I do not suggest it. I suggest writing your notes out. Now, you can do it, like I said, 2 ways. You can do it manuscript-wise. You can take a piece of paper like this and maybe use, in this case, a clipboard, so you can just stand like this and hold your clipboard and use your notes. And I suggest an outline form, prepared outline, not the whole thing. But if you want to do it, like I just said, manuscript, like an essay, just practice reading it and still looking up and doing your timing, your pacing, so you don't get monotone. Because you're really having a conversation. It's not a read, it's a speech, so remember that. But you can definitely put it on a piece of paper. I suggest something to back it up, like a clipboard or a notebook, so it doesn't flounce all around. And there is don't have any hesitation. Let your notes show, that's fine. In normal circumstances, you'd be behind a podium and you could lay your notes down. This is not normal circumstances. You do not have to stand up for your speeches, but I personally like it to give me energy and to keep me feeling in the moment and replicate what I'm really doing in the real world. I'm not standing up very straight now because I couldn't find a good place. I'm on Bristol Community College campus in Fall River, and what I really didn't realize, today was a very busy day and there's a lot of noise out there, so I was trying to find a quiet place. I'm right near our beautiful pond, which will turn into lovely colors come fall. Okay, so you can write out your notes, an outline form, on a regular piece of paper, or you can use the old-fashioned index card method. 45 years ago when I was in school, we always had to put our notes on index cards. I long have gotten away from that, but every so often I go back to it and I realize there's a lot of value to doing this. One, it simplifies you, gives you something to do with your hands, and you can't write too much on an index card, so you're destined to do an outline. 2 tips I have on this too is I always number my index cards in case they get scrambled up in my frenzy of getting nervous, and I remember like what's the first one, what's the second, what's the third one, and then I dog ear the ending, meaning I just lick a little like corner crop like this so they don't stick together. Because if you have a stack And I hope you don't have a stack of index cards. I wouldn't suggest more than 5 index cards for this speech, but if you have a stack, sometimes they can get stuck together. And then if you're nervous and your hands are sweaty, you start to try to peel them off and it's like a nightmare. So don't let that happen. All right, back to the speech. So the first part of the speech is to greet your audience, right? Greet your audience. So I'm going to give you a sample of a greeting. Hi, and smile. I would start like this. And now this is going to be a sample of an in the news speech. I'm not going to do a whole one. I did one for myself this morning at home, and it was taking me about 4 to 5 minutes, and I thought, oh, no one has to hear this. I hope this whole speech right now to you in giving instructions on in the news is not more than 4 to 5 minutes. All right, so on the first note card, I have my introduction, and I have here, greet your audience, say your name, and smile. I have those 3 things written down. So greet your audience. Hi, everyone. I'm Joyce Fernandez, and I'm here today to tell you about an interview that I heard on the Howard Stern Show. That's my introduction. And now you're like, Howard Stern Show? What is she doing listening to the Howard Stern Show? I have met Howard Stern many times in my college career. I was not friends with him, but my girlfriend Louise went to Boston University, and they were in a lot of the same organizations together, like the Radio and Film Club. And I remember meeting him many times. He was really a nice guy. And then later on, my girlfriend, not me, my girlfriend became friends with his now wife, Allison. They've been long divorced, and she still keeps in touch with Allison, but not with Howard. So Howard has gone his way. But the thing about Howard I really admire is how he took on his career on his own terms. And even though I'm not 18 to 24 male, that's his demographics, and I'm not into listening to some of the things he talks about, he does a good interview. So, greet my audience, say hi, my name is Joyce Fernandez, and I'm going to tell you about an interview I heard on the Howard Stern Show. Got your interest. Second is my body, where I'm supposed to paraphrase the interview or the story that I'm going to be reporting on. So, Howard Stern interviewed Jane Fonda last week. I was immediately drawn into this interview because, first of all, I'm a big fan of Jane Fonda. She's an environmental activist, a political activist, and an actress. And she is older than me, but not so much that I haven't been able to benefit from her wisdom and from just encouraging her as far as donations are concerned to her different causes. And I really think she's a person that speaks the truth. So I was immediately drawn into this interview. She was being interviewed on her latest book, which is called What Can I Do? And it was about our climate, like she called climate despair. And what are we doing on this climate as far as our environmental problems are concerned? With the fires that are going on in California, she talked about how they're directly connected to global warming, and what can we do? She's interviewed a number of scientists, and she says if in the next 10 years, if we don't get our act together, we're not going to have a planet like we know it for the next generations, for you, for my grandchildren. So we really have to stop being selfish and pay attention. And so anyway, if I were doing this speech for real, I would go on more detail, but I don't want to take our time. So you greet your audience, you state your name, you tell your audience what you're about to talk about. Intro. Body, go into the paraphrasing. And you don't have to have every detail perfect. You don't. It's as if you were having a conversation with a friend, but it is a monologue. You are the only one speaking, and you are not going to be interrupted by anyone. Then the conclusion, which every well-bodied, organized speech will have, intro, body, conclusion, just like an English class in writing, same thing. It's your opinion. So I would conclude by saying, the reason I selected this is for my love of the planet, my love of Jane Fonda, and I enjoy Howard Stern's interviewing. I thought it was an incredibly interesting interview. It was a little more than an hour long, and it had a lot of good content. It had good smiles. It got me involved in it, and it made a memory, so much so that I have ordered her book, What Can I Do? And it's a big call to action. I want to do the right things environmentally. I am a very vigilant environmentalist as far as recycling is concerned. I wear my clothes out, and then I try to keep them well enough I can send them off to somebody else. I buy used clothes from time to time. I sell clothes. I'm very much into trying to be careful what comes into my home, how can I reuse it, how can I repurpose it. So this particular interview really hit a lot of emotional spots for me. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions? Ta-da! I'm done. So that was almost what yours will be like, but it'll be a little bit bigger in the body. But it's your opinions, it's your interest level, and you can talk about politics, you can talk about sports. There's so many sports stories out there. You can talk about human interest, health, the video games that you love. You can talk about those. It's public information. It's something you have found either in a newspaper, magazine, talk show, on the news. Some of you are on social media. Maybe someone sent you a link to something. Hey, this new game is coming out. Something's current events. So you choose. It's all your choice, but keep it simple. Every presentation we do in this class is going to have the same organizational pattern. Intro, body, conclusion. That's what I'm listening for. And to stay within the time limits. So have fun with it. Wear a disguise. If you do have an audience, make sure you wear your mask. If you can't get separate, at least I'd say 26 to 30 feet, because we spit when we speak. Wear your mask correctly, have a nose clip, make sure it really is covering everything, and just have a lot of fun. This is Joyce Fernandez signing off from Bristol Community College, Fall River, Mass. I'll see you next week on VoiceThread with your In the News, and I can't wait what gets your interest and your curiosity. Bye for now.